All right, you guys. Hello. I'm gonna try to get everything done pretty quickly today. Tired. I have a headache. I'm late getting on, but we're gonna make it happen. Before I get into anything, I let me not say what I was going to say because I'm gonna save it for a different day. Because, like I said, I don't want to be on here forever. Just want to run through everything real quick. We got Keith Andes saying hi today. He's in the chat, which is great because the first song that I'm going to be reviewing today is Your Eyes, I Believe from Zandy Ashley. I heard this song when it was still like going through its process of being a song, and I'm really happy to be able to bring it to you guys today. It was just released. As per usual, if you want the links to any of the music that I'm talking about or any of the things that I'm talking about, go over to the link in my bio. If you're on Instagram, go to the link in the description. If you're on YouTube, and you'll be able to find everything I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it. When I first heard this, and as I continue to hear it, my favorite part about this song is that it really is giving you J Lo. It's very much giving you 90s R&B, but with like some rock fusion, which I think is different and really cool. I like the way that everything works together. Zandy's voice fits very well with the style, with the genre that the song is in. The songwriting is great. There's great storytelling that has to do with it. And my favorite part of this is the buildup. One of the things that I said to Keith when he first sent me this song, or when I first listened to this song, was that I wish that the buildup got there earlier, because this to me is the most engaging part of the song. It's the best part of the song. And I still have that same belief, but overall it's great. Make sure that you guys go ahead and listen to it. The next song that we have is another like old friend who I'm going to be speaking on. His name is The Wicked Saint, and he released a song called Logan. There's a really cool message behind it. It's essentially in remembrance of, I believe, his cousin. And this is actually my favorite song that I've ever heard from The Wicked Saint. I think that his voice matches perfectly with it. I appreciated that you had a lyric video. It was executed well. So I just give you props for that. You did great in terms of using space within the song. It left something to the imagination, but it also created an atmosphere where there wasn't too much going on, and you could really sit in the music and listen to what you had to say in the ambiance that you created. I really want to see you progress further with this style of music because, like I said before, I think that I believe that your voice fits very well with it. The next thing that we're going to talk about is a song by Cocaina or Cocaina, I don't know, but Cocaina Blue. And this is a song called Hot Girl She Fire. I could hear this in a reality TV show. It was giving me some Zeus vibes. So if you have any relationships in that field, definitely exploit them because I think that song would do very well with it. Or just start freely pitching yourself, get yourself out there more with this song. Because, like I said, I just really think it could work for that range. It's a little bit repetitive. So I suggest just making things a little bit more engaging to keep people listening. But please let us find you. This is something that I have to talk about every single week. And I'm not going to stop talking about it until I see some change. Please put your social media links, your website links in everything that you do, whether it be a YouTube video, on your Spotify pages or any of your DSP pages. Make sure that we can find you and do more than just listen to you. To move on, like I said, I really want to keep this going as quick as possible. We have Jay, the People's Poet Chattel, with a song called I Need You. This was a spoken word track. Very strong off the bat. I love this as soon as I heard it. It's very engaging. You do a good job of like changing up the production to keep there some variety on that end while still keeping the story of what you're actually saying. I just want to thank you for having like that being what you do is spoken word. You have a great like use of timing and cadence. Honestly, this was just 100% amazing all around. But same thing as the last person. I cannot follow you on Instagram. I cannot follow you on Twitter. I don't know where you are. So please, please, please start making these changes, you guys. The next person we're going to review, I believe, is still on the live today. We have Mojica with a 2-song EP called Succession. Now, the first song is called Rich. And I think in both of these songs, there are very slight timing issues. Now, this isn't something that like completely throws a song off, and but it's just things that I noticed. So I would say when it comes to like your lyricism and the cadences and the timing that you're using, I would just say pay attention to those things when you're recording and when you're in that mix and master process. But there was great production, very engaging. And I appreciated that you also translated that into your flow, into the verses. And I love the parting statement at the end of the song, Rich. I feel like it was giving me like affirmation vibes, and I think that it just made the song itself really it solidified what you were trying to say, and I think that's what you were trying to do with that. So I just wanted to give you props for executing that well. The second song is definitely different. Yeah, that's Mohika just answering, making sure I'm staying engaged with you guys if you have any questions or anything. But the next song on this two song EP is Legend. Now, my main thing that I wanted to say about this is that the vocals and the production are clashing, and I don't necessarily mean this in terms of like levels and volume, but it sounds to me like your vocals and your production is on a different key, which gives it it just feels like something is off. That's the main thing about this, but you did a great job in terms of changing up structure. Everything sounded good. I just think there's a better way to blend it all. And I think that is going to come down to what key you're in, if you're going to be sharp or flat in some areas. I'm not an expert when it comes to that, so definitely just play around and experiment. I just think there's a better way to mesh everything. The next song that we're going to get into is by Sim Streeter. It's called Bring It Home. Great vocals, great levels, great production, great structure. This was my favorite song of the week. Don't really have much else to say. I think this is like a 10 out of 10, and I just want to let you know that that's how I feel. The next song we have is by Trap Pharaoh, and it's called No Options. I love the production on this song. You start with very groovy, catchy lyrics, things that are memorable. The IG, I want to let you know, I don't know if you'll see it because I can't tag you, but the social media that you have in your DSPs does not work. It leads to like 404 not found type shit. So if you do end up seeing this, I recommend that you go in and change those things. Make sure you have the correct links with everything. Because like you were like halfway there. But yeah, you changed enough in the song to make it engaging. All around, it was a great song. I just, like I said, if I see it, I have to say it, and I'm going to keep saying it until it stops. Please make sure that you guys have your shit together when it comes to social media and the way that you cross collateralize them. I want to get through some of these comments. Use choir samples to try to get that sound. So yeah, the sample is very hard because of the minor. Gotcha. Well, I'm glad we're on the same page, boo. It's just all these things to build on and move forward from, so that the next sit that you make is 10 times better, right? The next song that we're going to get into is by Jimmy Luciano. It's called Timeless. This was another great track that as soon as it came on, I was like, I'm going to like this. Great production, great lyrics, and you're engaging throughout it, which is always the biggest thing that I'm going to be looking for when it comes to these submissions. Next, we have Capuso with Be All Right. Once again, I give you props for having a lyric video. I appreciated that there was light production with very dark lyrics. I love music that has that kind of dichotomy, because like if you're not paying attention, you could just be chilling, and then once you tune in, you're kind of like, damn, this is sad, or this is angry, or whatever that contrast is. I suggest that you add more variety into your flow to increase some of the engagement that you have in there. It does get a little bit repetitive, but there's kind of a nice common ground with that into when you're getting into the chorus, because that just makes it catchy. It helps us remember it. But definitely when it goes into your verses, like just change it up a little bit, get a little bit more versatile. But you have a great voice, and I think it goes well with the kind of like pop, emo, sad boy, but there's still some like R&B components in there. I think that your voice goes really well with what you're trying to do. And yeah, that's what I have to say. Then we have All Round Dream with Stay Away From Me, which reminds me of the song that the MVP just dropped, which is funny. But I personally believe that the lyric video you had was a little bit too basic. I am going to give you props for having it, but I just want to up the ante in terms of quality a little bit. I think you should play with effects on your vocals. I think that that's going to help create the sound that you are trying to create. And I don't say that you're not doing it, but I just think it could up the ante a little bit more. You have a very theatrical voice, which I like. It helps the audience see the picture that you're trying to paint when you're giving this very theatrical performance through your vocals. The instrumental is very simple, so I would want there to be a little bit more of a build-up when it comes to some of the more intense parts of the song lyrically, just so that you're creating a full story with all of the elements of the song, opposed to just one or two of them. And overall, I would be interested in hearing you experiment with different languages. When I heard your voice, I think that I don't know if you speak French, or if that's something that you would dabble in, but I think that your voice would go very well with the French language and just experimenting in those realms generally. Overall, great song. Once again, props for having a lyric video. Justin Artist, who is someone that I actually just recently met via Zoom. We had a great conversation. Great guy. He has much more than just music that he has going on. So definitely go ahead, give him a follow. He's going to be one of the people who are tagged below. But he had a song called God Mode. This is featuring Floeric Dre and Demoine Lewis. I could be pronouncing it wrong. I could be doing it right. But I liked that everyone had a different style. When you have songs that have several features and things like that, it helps to keep things engaging, just because even if you're not listening to a different melody or a different cadence, you're listening to a different voice, which is going to catch your attention in some way. And yeah, you guys had a catchy chorus. I think that you guys sound great together, and overall it was a great song. Next, and we're coming up on the end of these submissions, so we're going to be able to hopefully move through everything a little bit quickly. We have Jason Gordon with a song called Caroline. This was fun, gave me like whimsical folk vibes. I could hear this sound specifically, which is something I've been coming across more. I can hear this in children's music, which I don't know if that's something that you're interested in, but I think that would be fun to play around with. I think there's definitely a market for it, so I'm always gonna recommend trying shit out. But that was just what my brain was thinking. I could definitely hear this like on some Little Einstein shit, and I thought that was cool. You have great melodies. You do really well in terms of how you use the effects that you have on your voice. You did great with keeping things engaging, both through the instrumentation and the vocals. Great storytelling aspect. Your website does not work. Whenever someone is submitted, I'm going to try to find you the best way that I can. And I just want to let you know your website does not work. I also cannot find you on Instagram, so I don't even know if you'll get this information. But if I can teach someone else that these are things that you got to stay on top of, that's the point. The final song that we're actually going to talk about is from an artist called Tool4. It is called Aphrodite. Just to get straight into it, you have a great voice. I love the production. It gave me very classic current R&B, which is something that I appreciate. Great melodies. I want to see more content for the song. You're branded pretty well on your Instagram in terms of the look of everything, but when I go to your page, I don't immediately see the things that you're working on, especially in terms of this song. I just want to see some more content from it, because you're already doing great when it comes to streaming. You're hitting these important milestones. But I think if you market it a little bit better, got some content out for it, you could definitely do more than what you're doing now. So that's something that I would definitely recommend. This is a very like sing-songy song R&B hit, but I appreciated that you still dropped some verses in there. It kept things engaging, just so that just kept things engaging, to keep it short. Something that I like about this song, and that I think is really cool to experiment in with everybody's own music, is that this is not a short song, but it feels like it because it's so engaging. Because I was fully listening to every single thing, it didn't feel, it's I believe like a 3 minute and 30 second long song. It felt like it was a minute and 30 seconds. I had to go back and do a double take. But that's great, because that means someone is going to want to replay that over and over again, because it's not enough, even though it's an average length song. I'm gonna say this to like every young man who does R&B and sends this stuff into me. I challenge you to be different. It's not that you don't have a great sound going. I just want to see what makes you different from all the other amazing R&B singers out and why I should listen to you instead of them. So I challenge you to do that. I challenge you to make content around that song. But overall, great in terms of quality. I loved it. So next we're going to move on to the My Like section. This is stuff that does not fit into the rest of my sections, but stuff that I wanted to talk about. So first we have the singer Her wanting out of her contract with MBK Entertainment for its significantly limited terms, according to the lawsuit filed in the Los Angeles County Superior Court on June 16th. Her, whose original name is Gabriela Sarmiento Wilson, is suing the company for rights to her music catalog. Court documents show she is suing for declaratory relief in violation of the business and professional code. The damaged singer signed the significantly limited contract 10 years ago when she was 14 years old, which she believes she should have now expired. Services except as permitted or dictated by MBK, and that the label has exclusively owned the right to exploit her name and likeness for her recordings. So there's a couple things I want to talk about here. Saying that it's a significantly limited contract if you've been in it for over 10 years, and it's definitely not significantly limited. And I want to mention a couple things about her being so young when she signed it. If you sign a contract under the age of 18, if you can get out of it whenever you want to. So if she would have, if she would have been 17 and she was like, you know what, I want to try to do things by myself, she could have easily got out of this because of age. But this is also just a testament of like, if you are young and your parents are the ones managing your career, it can get real sticky because they likely saw this, and I don't want to make any defining statements or definite statements, but they probably saw this opportunity, didn't really think to get a lawyer involved or didn't get an equipped lawyer involved in order to look over this and see that now their daughter is in this situation where she's been in this contract for 10 years and she doesn't own any of the rights to her music, which is terrible. So I'm hoping that we see some good stuff on the side of her come out, because she is extremely talented. She's been killing it for the past couple of years, and she definitely deserves to have autonomy over her art. So yeah, I just wanted to mention those things. If you are young, you're under the age of 18 and you're having contracts and things lined up, definitely make sure that you have a parental figure who's really watching over things in the best way possible. Make sure that you're having lawyers around, but also keep in mind that, let's say you sign a contract at 16, just if you want to get out of it, like have it in your brain that I can break away from this before 18. So maybe feel it out, see how you want to do, get out while you can. But I think that that's a good thing just to have common knowledge about. The next thing I want to talk about is Beyonce's Break My Soul and Drake's Honestly Nevermind is causing fans to draw comparisons. This is airing on the side of like controversy and stuff, which I haven't talked about on the podcast for a long time, but I just thought it was interesting because they're both like house-esque dance genres is what they're pushing forward. And I just thought it was interesting because the theories that I've seen about the Drake album dropping when it did, and then Beyonce dropping something so similar right after. If I was on Beyonce's team, I would have waited a while, just because these things are going to happen, but also now people are talking about it, so people are going to go listen to both. So whether it's a good thing or a bad thing is kind of up to the viewer, but they're both making a lot of money. They were both going to make a lot of money regardless of what they were going to drop. But I do hope that this era of like house dance music kind of comes back in a greater way, because this is music that you can dance to. And I hope that as a culture, we can go back to like going to the club to dance. That's what I love to do at the club, but you can't dance to everything that is being played. And this is stuff that is meant to dance to. So I hope that we see another wave of just dance electronic music, but not necessarily EDM, really bringing in those house elements. But yeah, that's what I wanted to mention on that story. We have the Oregon Center for the Arts at Southern Oregon University has launched its newest degrees, a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Science in Music Industry and Production Studies. if that's something that you're interested in, if you happen to live in Oregon, or if that's someone that you wanted to go, definitely check out those new programs. Then we have the Grammy Museum announcing that 81 talented high school students from 69 U.S. cities across 18 states have been selected as participants in the 18th annual Grammy Camp program. Raina Roberts, Silverson Pickups, and Lauren Spencer Smith will be this year's guest artists, as they will discuss their career paths and help students prepare for the music industry. The Signature Music Industry Camp started for U.S. high schools, and students will be held from August 2nd to Saturday, August 6th at the USC's Ronald Tudor Campus Center. I think this is pretty cool. If you are in high school and you're watching this, definitely see how you can get involved. And if you're not in high school, maybe you're part of Grammy U, or you want to be a part of Recording Academy in general, see if you can get involved in terms of internships and volunteer positions. This is super cool, especially if you like anything that has to do with education when it surrounds music like I do. Definitely something to look into. The next thing is, I think, probably going to be everybody's favorite part of the podcast today, but I'm going to run through it real fucking quickly because, like I said, my head hurts and I'm tired, but we're going to push through. So 31 ways to make money from music. Let's talk about it. I'm just going to go down this list. I'm not going to elaborate on anything. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM. Streaming, downloads, mechanicals. That's going to break into 3 different sections: streaming, physical, and downloads. Mechanicals is the type of royalty that you can get. Then you have performance royalties. This is going to come from digital, radio, sync, and live performances. Once again, another royalty that you can collect on your music. You have social media monetization, YouTube content ID, physical music, session recordings, engineering, live shows, sync. You're getting that from the upfront and the publishing aspect. You can sell beats, merch, memberships, crowdfunding, live streams, NFTs, sponsorships, endorsements, lessons, VIP experiences, courses, and freelancing. Like I said, if you want me to elaborate on any of these things, definitely just feel free to send me a DM and we can chop it up about it. Other than that, I'm going to move on. This is a big paragraph I'm about to read, so prepare yourself. Or maybe I should prepare myself. The initiative under the MBA for Africa's Women's Fund forms part of Linkfire's effort to enable women who want to work in the African music industry. The 20-week online practical program is developed by I Manage Africa and aims to develop the next generation of music industry executives on the continent. It runs in partnership with Music Ally, YouTube Music, and New York University professor Dr. Carlos Chirnos. The selected participant will receive training and mentorship from seasoned music industry executives from Chocolate City Music, YouTube, Sony Music, and Music Ally, among others. We will encourage more women to take up the challenge and sign up to equip themselves with the tools to work in the thriving African music industry. Linkfire's managing director for Africa, Merritt Jensen, said, "With equality and social impact at its core, we are proud to be a part of this project, supporting more women getting to the music and entertainment businesses." Great stuff. Sell beats, will buy beats. Okay, I get distracted by comments. I don't think it's a bad thing because sometimes I need to see them. But to go back on what's going on with Africa's music, or Africa's Women's Music Fund, if that's something that you're interested in, see how you can get involved. If you're interested in helping the cause, see how you can get involved. And see what other types of programs are around you, especially utilizing these different sources like Music Ally, YouTube for Music, so on and so forth. Next, we're going to get into industry updates. This is always the longest part, so just get ready for it. Universal Music Group has launched a second investigation into alleged workplace misconduct at its Australian headquarters. Multiple sources familiar with the complaints told TMN. The latest investigation into the Australian operations is unfolding as the global music behemoth battles to transform its culture for the 21st century. Universal Music Australia is currently without a head of people and culture following the departure of Janine Ashton last year and her replacement Tom Dale, who left her just 10 months in during March, per his LinkedIn. This is interesting. This is something to pay attention to. It's sad but there's a court case surrounding it, so hopefully they'll be able to have some rectification of the wrongdoings having to do with this sector of UMG. South African Premier Peter Malinuskis unveiled a $10 million See It Live program on Sunday. The initiative follows consultation with the live music sector and includes a mix of grants, e-vouchers, cancellation insurance, and mental health programs, and plans for a Premier's Live Music Advisory Council. Australia has had some issues when it comes to live music, especially when it comes to insurance and things like that. So these are things that are moving forward in order to mitigate these things. But yeah, I think that the music industry at large needs to see the way, speaking from the Americans' perspective, see the way that these things are being handled, because these are not strictly Australian or strictly European issues that the industry is having. It's just about how each sector of the industry is going to handle it. Next, we have Anthony DePadua. He has been promoted to Vice President of Digital Marketing at RCA Records. DePadua started at RCA Records in 2020 as a Director of Digital Marketing. And yeah, he just got a promotion. Good for you, bro. Tencent Music Entertainment Group is renewing its strategic partnership with the Penguin Entertainment, aka TF Entertainment. Tencent says it will continue to support young Chinese musicians, and the partnership creates a more dynamic one-stop music entertainment experience for their users. I'm going to move on from there. Lovano's startup has grown increasingly ambitious, securing $5 million to date from investors as a legendary as legendary producer Quincy Jones and Twitch co-founder Kevin Lin have been folks who have been donating. Nashville, New York, and Atlanta, the country's 4 main music hubs. Lovano is teasing that the platform will open in international markets soon. Jamcard is a very selective thing with musicians. They need to pass a vetting process in order to prove that they're full-time professional musicians that are active within the live stream, or that are active within the industry. To break this down, because I know that was a little confusing, just in terms of the way that things were worded. This is talking about an invite-only production platform that is getting a lot of funding, but is extremely exclusive. So if you're interested in possibly being a part of that, go ahead and check that out. I'm sorry that wasn't more clear. But yeah. Next up, we have Mass Appeal, the entertainment company led by Nas, Sacha Jenkins, and CEO Peter Bittenbender, is partnering with Live Nation Urban to celebrate 50 years of hip-hop with a series of live programming as a part of the multi-year Hip Hop 50 live celebration. Next, we have AudioMac, which is an artist-first music streaming and discovery platform, along with UMG, the world leader in music-based entertainment, today announced a new licensing agreement to make UMG content available to AudioMac subscribers across Africa, the United Kingdom, and Canada. This expands on a previously signed licensing agreement between AudioMac and UMG for the US primarily. Next, we have Steve Cooper, the CEO of Warner, has officially announced that he is stepping down from his leadership position, but this won't actually happen until the second half of 2023, which is next year. Canada is on track to passing legislation that will require audio and video streaming services to pay an estimated $770 million into a fund to help Canadian musicians and other creators. This is another one of these stories where I just want us to be aware of what's happening in other countries when it comes to the industry, and how we can apply these things to the market in the US, how we can kind of lobby for these things, because these are things that are carried out by governments. So if we, put money behind to lobby, then we can get things pushed through. But I think it's definitely important to make sure that we're getting things like this, specifically that have to do with funding, to make sure that the arts industry at large and the entertainment industry at large is thriving. Finally, on the industry updates, we have MBU breaking the story of USample, whose own Instagram profile describes it as Universal's secret sample website. exclusively for major affiliated talent, which is certainly a novel approach to the remaining secret. The major affiliated part is certainly different from the various other beats and samples that are targeting amateur musicians of all levels. So this is essentially kind of similar to like that production directory that we mentioned before, just a very exclusive platform for producers, for artists to find samples and things like that. Now, do I think this will be super successful? I don't know if it's helping people be granted licenses for sample and things like that. What was the site? It is called uSample. Now, if you heard what I said leading up to this, it's a major affiliated thing, and they do not. Their whole thing is exclusivity. If you don't work with a label, they're not going to work with you, which is why I'm going into. I don't know if this is going to be a smart decision or not. If they're keeping money within their companies and they are affiliating with majors, I'm sure they can do well, especially, like I said, if they're helping people get licenses. But usually majors have the powers to get licenses anyway. So I am interested in seeing how this develops and kind of where it goes. But I'm never going to be a proponent of keeping things like hella exclusive like that. I think samples and art are for everyone. But from there, I'm going to move on to Web3. We have two stories. First of them is Jamie is delighted to announce that Han Jin Tan, award-winning musician and actor, as well as producer, will join the Gemi Metaverse team to help under-the-radar musicians reach a wider audience. And then I thought this was good. I thought this was a good resource to put in here. Just a simple guide to Web3, going through what makes Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. If this is something that can just kind of break things down easier to you guys so that you can start on your path of understanding a little bit more about this new world that we're going into, that's the whole point. So Web 1 is read only, right? So people who are going straight to the internet to find information. Mainly static websites, and most of it is owned by companies, if not all of it. Close to zero interaction between users. So you're finding something, you're utilizing that. There's no peer-to-peer, really anything going on. You can't create your own website, or there's a very small pocket of information on how to, or you get the gist. Then you have Web 2, which is read and write. So we're introducing peer-to-peer communication. We're introducing people being able to have their own websites, things of that nature. Instead of companies providing content to users, we're also providing these things to each other. A great example of that is the introduction of social media. And then we get into Web 3. So this is read, write, and own is the way that they categorize this. Web 3 has become a catch-all term for the vision of a newer, better internet. At its core, Web 3 uses blockchains, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs to give power back to the users in the form of ownership. So everything goes on this thing called the blockchain, which is essentially data entry that cannot be changed. That's the best way to do it, the best way to put it. It is like a breadcrumb trail of undisputable information. That is what NFTs are built off of. That is what cryptocurrency is built off of. And I'm sure that we're going to see a lot of other things come into play that have to do with blockchain. The best way to sum it up, blockchain, Web3 are best friends. And if it has to do with blockchain, it probably has to do with Web3. The metaverse also has to do with this and but I want you guys to continue to seek out that information. I just wanted to give the teaser. Next, we are going to be talking about some deals and acquisitions. And from there, we are almost done. We got 2 more sections left, and then I'm going to go to sleep. First thing that we have is that Tencent Music Entertainment Group, the leading online music and audio entertainment platform in China, today announced the renewal of its strategic partnership with the Fenjuan Entertainment situation. We already talked about this. I don't know why it's been here twice, so we're going to straight move on. When Warner Music Group confirmed its acquisition of 300 Entertainment for $400 million late last year, the company also confirmed that 300's leader, Kevin Liles, was under Warner's roof to be appointed as chairman and CEO across both 300 and Elektra Music Group. So there's a cute little merging happening with 2 of these companies. Then we have indie music company Glassnote Records, famed for singing and developing Grammy Award-winning acts like Mumford & Sons and Phoenix, now has a new distribution partner. Next, we have MasterCard is making its way into the music industry. Obviously, a global pioneer with banking and payment and things like that. But they're going to have their first ever music album release featuring the inspiring work of over 10 rising artists. They want to take a new approach to branding, utilizing sonic and audio things like that. And yeah, that's that. As the foremost Continental Music Awards platform, All Africa Music Awards continues to remind the entertainers who submit their entries for the 2022 edition. It has announced a partnership with the Economic Community of Central African States, as well as the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, to bid and further uplift the African creative community. All right. Brandy has just signed a partnership with the iconic Motown Records. She joins a roster of the likes of Erykah Badu, Kim, Neo, many others. The announcement comes on the heels of her Colors performance, where she performed Rather Be from her #1 album, B7. The official audio was released under her brand new Inc. /Motown Records. The R&B legend went to Instagram to share her excitement for her next musical chapter, and this is actually one of her first major deals since 2012. So this is super cool. Good for her for making a partnership, and I think this is going to be great for her. We're coming up on the second to last section, which is pretty short, and then we're going to be wrapping this up, you guys. So just 48 hours after releasing Honestly Nevermind. Oh, by the way, we're talking about industry, or we're talking about artist accomplishments. Just 48 hours after releasing Honestly Nevermind, the early sales estimates are in. If you guys can't tell, I'm really, really tired. According to Hits Daily Double, Drake's surprise album is projected to debut at #1 on the Billboard Top 200 with its first week sales of around $220,000. It earned 61 million streams worldwide on Spotify on its release day and broke the record for biggest dance album in Apple Music history with the most first-day streams worldwide. We have Lil Baby crowned as Songwriter of the Year at the 2022 ASCAP Rhythm and Soul Music Awards. And then we've got SZA, and SZA's Control is back to #1 on Billboard's top R&B album chart for the first time in almost 5 years. The 2017 record jumped from #4 and follows the release of Control Deluxe. There you go. SZA's debut record that earned a total of 32 equivalent album sales in the week, ending in the 16th, including 30,000 in streaming, which is 39.4 million on-demand streams of the songs, under 2,000 in album sales, and the remaining from track equivalent album units. Good for her. I think this goes back to the conversation that we had last week or about 2 weeks ago. Music can blow up whenever, it can chart whenever. It's all about the audience, bro. If you get a viral hit, it's really audience based, and because of digitization, like, it's not just you buy the album and that's when it's going to chart. It has the opportunity to chart throughout the entirety of its lifespan, right? So the final story we're going to talk about has to do with some legal stuff. So Chimodu's estate recently submitted the straightforward action to a Californian federal court, naming the defendant as Universal Music Group in its capacity as the owner and of the You Discover Music website. Modu is an award-winning photographer, well known for his photographs of hip-hop icons, including Tupac Shakur, the Notorious B.I.G., Mary J. Blige, LL Cool J, and many others. The text explains, noting also one of these Shakur images appeared on the book The 90s Inside the Stories from the Decade That Rocked. He's suing for copyright infringement. He owns the right to it, and it was used without his permission. So we'll see how that goes. With that said, you guys, I am so ready to get off of this computer and off of this phone. I hope you guys are too. Go spend some time with your family, eat some food, live your life. But on that note, thank you guys for watching. If you are wanting to submit for the next episode, feel free to use the contact in my Instagram bio. Shoot me an email with your submission. If you have any questions, never hesitate to ask them wherever you see fit. And on that note, thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye. Oh, I always struggle with this. Bye, guys. Bye.